Okay, we are going to deal with business mathematics, the JSS student, and it has to do with the simple interest and the compound interest. So we'll be looking at simple interest today. But there are some things we need to understand in simple interest. One of them is the principal. The other is the interest, the amount, the rate, and the time or the period. I will briefly explain this to us. The principal is the amount that you invest in a particular business or the one you borrowed from a particular organization to pay back later. I said principal is the amount invested on a particular thing or the amount of money you borrowed from something or the money you borrowed from somewhere or from a particular organization. That amount, that type of money is called principal. The money invested in a business, the money borrowed from someone to pay back, that amount is called, or that exact money is called the principal. Then the interest is the charges made on the principal. The charges someone will make from the principal he gave to you is what is called the interest. For instance, if you borrow money from a bank, that money you borrow from the bank is the principal, but there is a charge the bank will collect from you for giving you such amount of money. That charges that is put on that principal is what we call the interest. Now, in a simple way, amount is simply the total money you bring back to the person that gave you the money at first, which is called the principal. Someone borrowed you 1,000 naira and added a charge on it, which is 100 naira. Which means he's going to make 100 naira for himself when he borrowed you 1,000. So if you're to return back his money to you, you'll be giving him 1,100 naira. That money you're bringing back to him is what is called amount. So amount is simply principal plus interest. Amount is simply principal plus interest. Do not forget, I said principal is the money borrowed or invested on a particular business. The money you borrowed or the money you invested on a particular business is called the principal, and the charges made on that money is called the interest. Now, if you're to return back the money, you're going to return the principal and the charge made on that money or placed on that money. If you combine the two, what you have is going to be the amount. Now, rate is the measure of money which makes the total interest that you're dealing with. The wage of money is what is defined as rate, and it is always measured in percentage. The time or the period is the lasting time or period for which this money will be used. The duration for which this money will be used is what we call the time or the period. The duration for which you have to keep the principal and make use of the principal before returning, it is called the time or the period. So if you borrow money for a particular firm and they gave you 2 years to use the money, it means the time given to you is 2 years. Now we are going to apply this respective concept mentioned in simple interest to help us solve problems regarding the principal and the time. But quickly, before we do that, let us consider some formulas that we're going to be using in solving problems that have to do with this business mathematics. I'll quickly state out the formula for simple interest. The formula for simple interest is what we want to look at quickly. From the formula, we're going to get the formula for other concepts. Interest. The formula for simple interest is simply principal times the rate times the time, all over 100. This 100 here is coming from the rate, knowing that I said rate is always in percentage. So we have this 100 here. P is for principal, R is for the rate, and T is for the time. So once you're asked to calculate the simple interest, recall the formula. I is equal to P times R times T all over 100, or you can write it in short as I is equal to P ROT all over 100. This formula seems to be unique because I am going to deduce other formulas from the formula for simple interest. Formula for simple interest, again, I said, is I. So you simply write this over 100. We can now find our principal. We can find the rate. We can find the time. You've been taught how to cross multiply in your mathematics. If I should express interest as having over 1, if I cross multiply, I'll have PRT is equal to interest times 100. This formula is a universal formula when it comes to simple interest problems in mathematics. Because from here I can find my P alone. For me to make my P alone the subject of the relation, it means RT will lead to the other part. So I'll be having P is equal to I times 100 all over RT. This is formula for principal. If I want to find out of rate from the universal formula, I'll have R is equal to I times 100 all over P, and T will leave, so I'll have PT down. This is the formula for rate. If I want to find my time, I'll be having I times 100 all over P, and R will leave. That'll be that. So the formula for principal is I times 100 over RT. Formula for rate is I times 100 over PT. Formula for time is I times 100 over PR. Recall, I said that your formula for interest is PRT over 100. So this is interest formula, this is time formula, this is rate formula, this is principal formula. Finally, your formula for amount is simply principal plus interest. So amount, which is A, is principal plus interest. This is the formula for amount. So these are the 5 formulas we'll be dealing with. This is the first formula which we treated here. First formula, second, third, fourth, and the 5th formula. Formula for interest, PRT over 100. Formula for principal, I times 100 over P over RT. Formula for rate, I times 100 over PT. Formula for time, I times 100 over PR. And formula for amount, principal plus interest. In our next class, we shall be dealing with interest and principal, and we'll be using the 2 formulas in solving problems. Thank you.